Shalom, this is Amonute Tayac of Piscataway, your friendly neighborhood Shuman, Sophia Spiritualite, the AmaruKhan Miriyam, and we're here with our Aquarius New Moon video. This should hopefully help everyone complete their new moon intention setting properly so that you can make the most out of this new moon, just like we try to make the most out of every full moon, every new moon, just the way that the people who are not supposed to be in the places they are doing. And I'm actually sipping my my pink chai tea, which is very hot, very delicious. All right, so we are here for a new moon in Aquarius. So this is ending out a cycle that started the 1st of August with a full moon in Aquarius. And if you remember at that time, we were starting our cross-quarter holiday. So this is the fact that we're in our fast, and this is basically completing that intention that we set when we start our fast is very interesting. And we'll be completing this cycle. Let me see. This is 2024. We'll be completing this cycle with a full moon that happens in also in August while we're in the midst of our cross-quarter holiday fast. So this is a very important moon for us as it relates to our fasting on the mother's timeline schedule. So and the full moon that happens that's August, is going to be a super moon, and it's a seasonal blue moon. So it's like the third moon in that season. So definitely a pretty big thing going on with that. And then, of course, this cycle is going to end with our Aquarius new moon that's going to actually be in January next year, not February. So it's very, again, it's one of these things where this thing just lines up just perfectly with our intention that we set when we did our Restore Daughter Zion fast back in August. All right. So as with every new moon, new moons are receiving moons, which is I am receives the experiences in your whole house theme. Full moon's about releasing, which is releasing the blockages to your whole house theme. So new moons is about receiving. We want to receive the blessing. We already removed the blockages. Remember, that was the fast that we did for Restore Daughter Zion. Now we want to receive what goes along with that restoration. Okay? So this is in everything, just so you can see what the themes are, the cards that goes along with the colors, the hours, the times, just in every one. So let's read the one for Aquarius, which is cambio. The original principle of crystallization, condensation, and hardening in the whole cosmic hierarchy in our whole universe is controlled by the 11th original genius of the Jupiter sphere. Moreover, this genius is also responsible for the regular cycle of all planets, and therefore also for gravitation, the force of gravity, the power of attraction itself. The spiritualite can be informed by Cambio about all the secrets of crystallization, not only on our planet, but also on the other ones. This means, from the magic Kabbalistic view, that the spiritualite will be taught to change by alchemy. Is that right? Magic and Kabbalah, the principle of solidification throughout the diminished or enlarged vibration, depending on the qualities of the substance, so that he is finally able to change, if he wishes, gravel stone into a diamond or vice versa, diamond into a gravel stone, thus making use of the knowledge acquired from Cambio. Furthermore, the spiritualite is instructed by this original genius in the laws of alchemy in its most subtle form, especially with regards to the so-called dry process. He is also informed of the practical application of gravity from the magic Kabbalistic view. If a sphere musician so wishes, he can make the biggest pieces of rock as light as a feather, and he's able to make light things so heavy that no force on earth is able to lift them up. This means that the original genius can easily explain to the magician any problem of levitation that he knows many various methods by which a magician can acquire these faculties, and he will be pleased to inform the sphere magician about them. So, as far as making something very heavy light, think of building the pyramids from the top down. And as far as making something very heavy, a very light heavy, think about King Arthur trying to remove the sword from the stone. That sword was impossible to move because it was made so heavy, except for by the person with the proper vibration. So that's the kind of stuff that this guy can do. Okay. So for the Aquarius New Moon, you guys should be used to this by now. You want to post and store your statement related to your house that Aquarius falls in. Place the paper on your altar. This is not a right burner release. We do right burner releases on the full moon, not on the new moon. Because as I said, the new moon is when you want to bring something in. You don't want to burn something that you're trying to bring in. When you're releasing it, that means you're sending it away from you. So always keep that in mind. People will tell you, burn stuff, this and that, but you don't want to burn something. You burn stuff that you want to leave your presence, not that stuff that you want to keep with you. Okay, so part 2, of course, on a blue candle, ask your angels to assist in what they specialize in. So let's see the angels that we have. Of course, oh my goodness, I always forget to change the thing. This is not Sagittarius, this is Aquarius, but look at what house your Aquarius falls in. That's the statement that goes along with that. And I have AmaruKhan as an example. I got 2 of these and neither one of them is correct. Lord have mercy. Of course, if you need this, make sure you email me and I'll send it to you. People who always request it, don't worry, y'all will get it soon. Anyway, this is the hours. So I try to do the thing during the hour of the angel that's in charge. But if that's too much work for you, don't worry about it. So let's take a look. This is what the chart looks like. This is what the sky looks like for this new moon. And it has more placements on it than most charts. So don't worry about some of the signs that you're not used to seeing. But I just wanted to point out that you have Vulcan, the moon, the sun, Aquarius, and Pluto all in Aquarius. I said Mercury and Pluto all in Aquarius, right? Sun, moon, Vulcan. Okay. And then right across from that at a basic exact conjunction. And you also have the descendant. So this is on the descendant, which is interesting. That I don't know if that always happens. I just noticed that. But you have the part of fortune over at 22 degrees of Leo right on the ascendant. So I also threw that in there, even though there's no nobody is talking about that. But I also put the Leo placements in here because 22 and 23 of Leo, because you have the ascendant and the part of fortune directly together. I mean, that's pretty unusual. So me, I'm looking for stuff that kind of stands out. So I think that all goes together. So Pluto, you should remember from our last, Pluto was in our Capricorn new moon because Pluto was at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And so because Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius, that covers 29 of Capricorn, 30 of Capricorn, and 1. I just put 1 of Aquarius. Oh my goodness. This is the most mistakes I've ever made in a PDF. Y'all gonna have to give me a day to fix these. The ones who are going to get an email, it'll be emailed tomorrow, okay? Because I got to or later on tonight, I got to fix these. I don't have time to fix them right now. All right, so 29 degrees of Capricorn is Echorim. This spirit intelligence has been teaching mankind from its prime origin how to create the most manifold shapes from earth, gypsum, and clay. In accordance with development, Ekarim has inspired mankind to make pots, vessels, statues, and the like from clay. Later, he taught man to make bricks from clay, which up to this day have been an important constituent in architecture. The spiritualite may not only be informed of everything in connection with the working up of clay, he may also be told about the healing power of clay in the natural medicine and may learn which other natural means are to be added to the clay in order to bring about certain curative effects. Hitherto unknown curing methods in this line will be revealed to man in the future, will be shown to the spiritualite by Ekarim. So whatever you wrote for your Capricorn new moon, you could use the same thing, except now, this is just like a double dose of it, right? So you also have 30 degrees of Capricorn, which is Ramgisa. It says the directing and controlling of the fish trade are prevalent tasks of this head. It is Ramgisa who has taught mankind to tend water animals in various ways, and the spiritualite can get a wealth of information on this subject from the above named head. So this is like the guy who taught people to make canned salmon and stuff like that. If you're from Maryland, you're very familiar with salmon cakes, not salmon croquettes. Lord have mercy. I don't know how y'all eat those. But we make salmon cakes like we make crab cakes. But you don't use fresh salmon. You use canned salmon. And there's various levels of that. Anyway, that's when I think of tinning thing, I also think of like they keep whoever this is that's doing to us has put us in a jar, right? This may be how we remove them. We might have to put them in a tin. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like, but that's what came to mind, okay? You also have 1 degree of Aquarius, which is Phrasis. This head has taught mankind how to sharpen things. First, man learned to sharpen knives, axes, swords, and all other weapons. Then, as time went on, he also learned how to cut stones and gems. The instrument necessary for sharpening and cutting, the whetstone, has reached its modern perfection due to inspiration by this head. Phrasis is the guardian of all people having to do with the art of cutting, sharpening, and grinding. This is what I've been talking about. Iron sharpens iron. So we ourselves have to be sharp. Our tongues have to be sharp. Our minds have to be sharp. So this is what you would ask this guy for the sharpening of your mind, for the sharpening of your tongue, so that it can be used appropriately, not as a weapon against your brother and your sister, but to uplift your brother and your sister, and a weapon to those who, are in need of it, who are deserving of that, and not to be used improperly. This is for control over your tongue. This is what you would ask this guy for, just a suggestion. Now remember, I'm only describing these and making suggestions because I know it's kind of hard these are all coded, you know what I mean? Like, it's not obvious what any of this stuff means. Like, the way that it's written is written in code. So it says a specific thing, right? But that doesn't necessarily relate to you as an individual. What I'm trying to do is give you examples of what you can ask for from these spirit intelligences in a language that you can understand, because it's all coded. Like, who would read that about sharpening things and think about the tongue? If not, this week had come up, I'm asking for people to give their ideas to me, give their insight, give their input. Like, what normally happens when I do these videos, I've already seen all this stuff show up. You know what I mean? Like, by the time I do this video, I've seen all of this stuff show up in my life. So I have a real life experience to give you because I've seen all of it show up. I mean, I don't know how or why that keeps happening, but that's what happens to me. I am given a sight into what this means in a real literal terms, as opposed to these terms, which are literal too, but they don't necessarily apply to individuals. You have to use some imagination to get out the kind of experience that I'm giving you, right? So the next one is CJ's. That's 7 degrees of Aquarius. And it says, this head informs a spiritualite of the various procedures for mummification, which will stop the dissolving influence on the astral and the physical body. If the spiritualite applies these procedures, he will stop getting old and will also evade the influence of his fate, for he is able to prolong his life for the period he wants to have it prolonged. Also, the spiritualite who has mummified himself astrally and physically can never be taken ill. Following the instructions of this head, the spiritualite will be able to experiment in many other matters. He can, for instance, make himself invulnerable against fire, water, poison, or he can live without food for many years or remain young, energetic, and resistant for as long as he wants. Divine providence alone may decide on the life and death of such a spiritualite. What I'm thinking about with this is, I've been working on this trust stuff, and when you have a proper trust indenture, it is the constitution for your family, for your posterity behind you. And that's a literal version of that. Like, you leave your notes, you leave your how you dealt with situations, you leave all that information for your posterity, for your inheritors, so that when something comes up, they know what to do, they know who to call, they know how to handle it. And that's, one kind of mummification, where you would quote unquote live forever. And honestly, that's what the Bible is. The Bible is literally a book of how to live forever. Like, it is a book, and they added a bunch of stuff to it. Obviously, it took some stuff out, but it's still a book of how to handle just about any scenario. Whatever you come up against, you can find that thing in the Bible as it stands. Whatever you come up against, and when you do what they said to do, when you're able to again use your imagination to say, okay, well, we're up against the enemy, and it's only a few of us, and we're being whittled down. Ooh, Gideon. What did Gideon do? You know what I mean? Like, or I'm the youngest of all my father's sons and everyone hates me. Ooh, David. You know what I mean? Like, you can easily understand what's going on with that. You know what I mean? So that's just, a little bit of insight from my perspective. So mummification, it has to do with, and the whole idea of mummifying yourself astrally is making yourself important in the astral realm. I mean, how do you think evil Jesus came into being? Franklin, he literally mummified himself in the astral realm using, this guy, allegedly, probably. And that's why whenever you get a regression, Franklin is in there. And you're like, well, how did he even get here? This is what astral mummification looks like. And this is why, him, Franklin, Zeus, all the rest of them gotta be taken out. They are being brought to life. So every time you get your regression with Q, he knows the energy signature for Franklin. He knows it. And so he's able to go in there, find him, and subdue him. This is why you have to get a regression. I don't know how to do that, you can't necessarily do that on your own. You can try, ask the Most High. Obviously, all things are possible to those who believe, but if you want to really get in there and deal with that Franklin, man, you better have somebody who is an expert at that going right for where he lives, and so that he can take him out. I mean, it's still amazing to me that Franklin was buried in my subconscious. Anyway, let me move on. I did Aquarius on this. Okay, you know what? Poor Dominique. Okay. 20 degrees of Aquarius is Cosirma. This spirit intelligence makes the spiritualite acquainted with special curing methods for disease, which up to the present have been regarded as incurable. This head entrusts the spiritualite with many recipes and methods for the preparation of alchemical and sporadic medicines. Sporadic just means that's the dry process, okay? To cure all kinds of severe diseases. And he also teaches them how, on top of that, to influence favorably these medicines by the help of electromagnetic fluid and other ways of charges. That would be like electromagnetic fluid work is like Reiki, okay? The spiritual light can get from this head information on all secret alchemical curing methods. So we have a double dose of this. So this just means this is okay, one of the incurable things that might be in your life, right? How do you get rid of Franklin? How do you subdue Franklin? That's an incurable thing in your life. Evil Jesus, this wicked enemy that has mummified himself into our physical. That's one thing you could ask for. Another thing could be, how do we cure this incurable disease of thinking our vote doesn't count. That's an incurable disease. How do we cure that? How do we get confidence that our vote is meaningful? You know what I mean? Like, you can apply it however you want to. This just some suggestions, but things that are incurable, like if you're addicted to something, you have tried to stop doing something. In my own case, I'm like overweight. It seems like an incurable disease to me because no matter what, I'm still overweight. I don't know how to deal with that. Some of the things you could ask for, right? Okay, the descendant is on 23 of Aquarius, which is Chimirgu. The spirit intelligence initiates a spiritualite who is in contact with him into the mysteries of creation in respect of all planes and spheres. By this intelligence, the spiritualite learns to know thoroughly by the Akasha principle, i.e. the principle of causes, and by the mysteries of wisdom are unveiled to him. So, this person is here to unveil the mysteries of life to people. The reason why they do stuff. Again, with the voting thing, that's a really good example. This is not only can you, it kind of works together, which is interesting, right? I won't go in. I need to hurry up. So, all right. Vulcan is at 24 of Aquarius, which is Arisalia. Being a perfect master of spiritual incarnation, this head awakens within the magician his understanding of the music of the spheres and teaches him how to express music or song, every idea, every thought, following the methods given to him by the Akasha. Ariska, the spiritual light can develop excellent ear for music. I have to look up what that Ariska means, but I think I just spelled it wrong inside of this. But think about music. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. That was like a song that inspired many people to action. Another one would be like the song about John Brown's Bones. That's another song that inspired our people to do different things. I gotta remember to bring that up. I can't believe I just remembered about the whole John Brown thing. Okay, I'm gonna go back. You'll see a video on that soon. So, anyway, that's how music has been used to keep us locked down too. There's a gospel song, silver and gold, silver and gold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. Well, wait a second. I need silver, and I was promised silver, and I was promised gold, but you're telling me I need Jesus more than silver and gold when I need silver and gold to live. I need Jesus too, but more than silver and gold, I have to have money to live. So it's like convincing you when you go in that church, hey, empty your pockets of your silver and gold because you need Jesus, and I'm the only one who can give you Jesus. I'm the only one who can give you Jesus. So this is how, this is why you see Andre 3000 got the flute album. You got Little John coming out with the album that's talking about the meditation stuff. So you can see what they're doing, how they're trying to co-opt this, but you can't take what God meant for good and turn it into evil. You can't do that. What the devil meant for evil, God can turn it to good. So they can be trying to do these things with their little stuff, but in the meantime, you're getting our people meditating. You're getting our people listening to indigenous instruments. Like, okay, you think that's going to end well for you? I don't think so. All right, so the ascendant is at 23 of Leo. And let me make sure I did these right. I didn't do them right. I got to add in 22. I'm sorry. Let me pull my book out. I can just read 22. Yeah, Lord, I'm telling you, they didn't want me to get this information out at all. I opened right up to Leo. Okay, let's look at 23 of Leo. That one's correct. I realize it's in the wrong order. That's Erica, Carison. And this spirit intelligence instructs the spiritualite the true initiation into all religious systems, especially into all kinds of yoga. He helps the spiritualite in decoding the most difficult tantric texts, which is interesting that that's all it says about this guy. And let me read y'all 22, which the one that's on here is incorrect. 22 of Leo is Abatira, and it says this spirit intelligence shows the spiritualite the way to acquire high esteem, power, and wealth in the physical world. Apart from this, he can help him in getting the favor of very important people. Well, that's what we need. We need to be on the favor. I can see, man, this is a really great new moon. This is so critical and so helpful. I can't even put this into words how great this is for us. We need this right now. This is just putting us on the right side of everything that is quote unquote we need access to. This is really an access moon for real. Access to our astral selves, access to the enemy within, access to all the people who's the high voices in the right places. So again, I have to fix this. But of course, if you have the book by Bardon, it's 22 degrees, the part of fortune of Leo, not 24. That's just a mistake on my part. But the people who get it emailed to you, it'll be corrected before I email it. So this is also interesting. This is taking way too long. The presentation of our Lord to the temple and Candlemas, that is actually the event that's going on. And one thing I'm realizing is some of these events go on for a week, like this one, the presentation of the Lord, of our Lord to the temple. This goes on for over a whole week of this thing, and I think that it's so it can cover this full moon no matter where it happens. And I'm starting to think that about some of the other holidays. There's 12 major feast days, and a lot of them cover these new moons or these full moons, because there's 24 new and full moons in a year, maybe 25, but and there's 12 major feast days, so we'll have to start keeping track of that. Anyway, the presentation of Jesus is an early episode in the life of Jesus Christ, describing his presentation at the temple in Jerusalem. It is celebrated by many churches 40 days after Christmas on Candlemas, or the Feast of the Presentation of Jesus, the episode described in chapter 2 of the Gospel of Luke in the New Testament. Within the account, Luke's narration of the presentation in the temple combines the purification rite with Jewish ceremony of the redemption of the firstborn, which is Luke 2:23 and 24. So Candlemas, also known as the Feast of the Presentation of Jesus Christ, the Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary, or the Feast of the Holy Encounter, is a Christian feast day commemorating the presentation of Jesus at the temple. It is based upon the account of the presentation of Jesus in Luke 2:22 through 40. According to the Old Testament rules in Leviticus 12, a woman was to be purified by presenting a lamb as a burnt offering, either a young pigeon or a dove as a sin offering, 33 days after a boy's circumcision. The feast falls on 2nd February, which traditionally the 40th day and the conclusion of the Christmas Epiphany season. What I want to point out about this is this is not only about the presentation of Jesus at the temple. This is about the purification of the Mary, of the Theotokos. Is purified at this point now from her birthing process. So this is us. We're presenting our work that we've done, our efforts, our labor. We're presenting the fruits of our labor right now with this new moon, and where we're also presenting ourselves as purified. So it's not just about the presentation of Jesus. It's also about the presentation of Mary. She has to go and present herself. And the crazy thing about doves, I don't know if I mentioned this in another video, but in the Talmud, there's a difference between the regular doves, which are white, and turtle doves. Turtle doves are brown. I was like, this is kind of crazy. So they bring turtle doves as their sin offering to the temple, and the person that they present Jesus to in the temple is Simeon. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this whole thing, and you know, you can, if you type in presentation of our Lord to the temple, Orthodox, you'll get more information about it. It's really, really interesting, fascinating to me. So I thought I would show y'all the icon because, you know, pictures are helpful. People like pictures. Okay, so this is the USA Sybil chart. Again, I have it here in two ways. We have it the regular way, Placidius. That's the first one. And the second one is with the whole sign houses. So you can see this is what your whole sign house chart would look like. And you see that it is slightly different because it's got everything within the whole sign house. So AmaruKhan has 2 points in that we're going to look at. The little one with the key is I think that's Athena. We're not going to look at that one. All right, so this is just an example so you know kind of how to do yours. The candle language is Cambiel in blue ink. That's because we're using a blue candle and blue ink. That's the color for Aquarius. So I'm going to put for on the candle. This is for the candle. This is just for the stuff that AmaruKhan has. That's not the stuff that I already mentioned, right? So please help Daughter Zion and the American people use crystallization, condensation, hardening to bring restoration. For Miriyam, say, please help the Daughter Zion and the American people get a better understanding of philosophy. If you look at Lyriel, that's what she does. And then for Iberin, please teach your Daughter Zion and the American people to be protected from mental wanderings on all realms. That guy has to do a lot with crazy mental wanderings and being able to do it, you know, against people's will. So that we need to be protected from that. So the written request, because this happens in the United States third house, as you can see, 1, 2, 3. That's where Aquarius is, the third house. The written request is going to be in turquoise or blue ink again in the Raphael hour. And it says, I am receives increased access to ideas, short travel, siblings, mental energies, and informants. And then I'll put some other stuff on there, okay? So again, this is the deposit slip what we're talking about. Again, if you get on the email me, not get on the email list. I don't have an email list right now, but email me. And when I send out the PDF, I send this out as well. The deposit slip, but you can also screenshot it and print it out. And I make 2 copies, one to put on my altar, one to store. And then I also have another location where I store this information so I can refer back to it. It's one of those things I'm leaving, you know, for my posterity so they know how to deal with these energies when they come up. Right. So here's my email address on here. If you have any questions, I'm trying to get this out early enough where people can send me questions and I'll hopefully be able to get back to them. The energy has been extremely difficult on me. I'm really doing my best, honestly, but it's really, really tough. So, but anyway, feel free to email me. Remember, the new moon is on Friday, 6:07 p.m. I believe. Look, I don't remember. Hold on. Let's go back. 6:17, yeah, 6:17 p.m. I'm sorry. It's on Friday at 6:17 p.m. So you have time to get your candles, to get your stuff together, to write out your petitions and all of that. This is a very critical new moon, especially if you've been rocking with me since the Restore Daughter Zion fast. This is when all those blockages are going to be taken off and we're going to have access to what we asked for with that fast. Not just us, but all the people who we stand in the gap for. Because as I always mention, this is not about me, you know, getting this for myself. This is about standing in the gap, holding a space of light and love for all of those who need it, who don't know that they need it, who, you know, the Messiah and the Father and the Mother decide do need it. We're just holding a space for them. You know, we know what we're going to get. We know the work that we've done. They don't know. So again, on here is my email. Sorry, scroll back like this. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to me and I'll respond to them the best way that I can. So thank you all for joining me. Of course, if you enjoy this type of content, you're free to make a donation, like, unlike, unsubscribe, subscribe. You know, people who want to like really get in on this energy, really do something that's going to be helpful and powerful and all that kind of stuff. You can send this to them. You know, share this information or don't share it. I don't know. Use it to help yourself first and foremost, and then put the airbag on for someone else. That's where we are right now. So shalom, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.